Goes off.
Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 243. I am your host, Peter Nicolaitis, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Adam Bell. How you doing,
Hey.
Adam?
All right. How about yourself, Peter?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. It's cold up here in Medford, Massachusetts, just north of Boston. I went out for a run this morning at actually I should tell the whole story. It was kind of fun. I woke up this morning. I knew it was going to be cold. My schedule called for me to run yesterday. Today's supposed to be a rest day. Tomorrow I'm supposed to do and today's schedule, yesterday's schedule called for a 1 hour long run. Tomorrow, same thing, 1 hour long run with a slightly more effort. And Sunday, an hour, 15-minute long run. So not as long as, the 2.5 hour, 3 hour, 14-hour runs, but it's getting back, it's significant, right? So, hitting 5, 6, 7 miles or so. So that's great. I'm super stoked about that. Yesterday morning, I got up and, I had only about an hour before I was supposed to start running. And, some days you just get up and, I was kind of dragging, let's just say that. All right. And essentially I finished my coffee right around the time when I was supposed to head out the door. And I was like, it's just not going to happen. Right.
Yeah.
So I designated yesterday as my rest day. And that means 3 days in a row now I have hour-long runs. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But as a result, I ran this morning and I was trying to decide when is a good time. Now I had a business lunch meeting today. I never feel like running after those. And so I woke up and I asked Alexa, what's my schedule like? And since Alexa can read my calendar, she told me. It's like, okay. I said, what's the wind chill right now? And Alexa says, the wind chill is 10 degrees. It's really 23, but it feels like 10. And I was like, what's it going to be like later, right? And she says, well, in an hour, it's still going to feel like 10. I was like, okay, well, look at my schedule. Tell me when I should go running. So Alexa looked at my schedule, it looked at my calendar, and it looked at the hourly forecast to say, you know what, you're probably better off running at 8:45 to 9:45 today, because by then it'll actually go up about 3 degrees, but it still will feel cold, but you may be able to, it might be a little better.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that's what I did. And so I was like, that's actually kind of cool. That was a useful AI assistant thing. And the funny thing too was at one point I need to double check my email. I don't even remember if I told Alexa the first time to move my appointment, but I think I said like, I maybe we should move it or something like that. And she's like, I've moved your appointment for you. I was like, oh, thanks. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. And I know that I listened to the latest episode of the Verge cast talking about, Amazon Alexa Plus and stuff. And they were kind of down on it. But for, actual interaction and stuff like that, I have not given, say, ChatGPT or Claude access to my calendars, for instance. So they can't actually make changes. I'm assuming that Google Gemini can, by virtue of just being Google. Or if not, that I can just say, yo, Gemini, access my calendar, and it'll probably say, okay,
Yeah.
But it was kind of useful. I'm like, that was actually a good application of an AI assistant today. So there you go.
Nice. Well, it's 56 here.
Sure. Well, it was 83 in Turks and Caicos, where I just got back from. You're like, yeah, well, it's 1,000,000 degrees on the surface of the sun. Okay, you win.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, I took another long weekend getaway and went down to Turks and Caicos last week for a while, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Out of all of my trips to the south, right? So as you know, I've been to the Bahamas. I just got back from Mexico City last month. I've been to Costa Rica and I've been to Puerto Rico and now Turks and Caicos. Out of all of those trips, this was the most reliable internet access that I have had.
Right.
All of those trips. It was also probably the most expensive as far as like just cost of things,
Every.
hotels, meals, etc. So there's that. But you know, it's kind of interesting. Just like the Bahamas, they drive on the wrong side of the left side of the road.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely saw more right side steering wheels down there than I did in the
Mhm.
Bahamas. The currency is the U.S. dollar, and it felt like, I mean, there were similarities between all the southern countries. I guess less so with Mexico, I guess, but definitely between Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, I felt a lot of stuff similar. But it definitely felt the most like Americanized
Yeah.
as far as money, as far as food selection, but also as far as like availability of stuff.
Right.
So I would say Puerto Rico is probably second to that, as far as like, because I mean, Puerto Rico is by extension, it is the United States, right?
Right.
But the internet wasn't as reliable there. And it
Hmm.
definitely felt like a little more of that island vibe. I mean, there was
Hmm.
plenty of that at Turks, don't get me wrong. But like going to the stores there, even like the grocery stores in Turks and Caicos felt a little more like, it felt like I was at a Shaw's. They had
Yeah.
all the same brands and everything. And Puerto Rico, there's like, oh, there's a CVS, there's a United States Post Office.
Yeah.
But it felt very American with better weather.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing that I was going to ask you is because we've looked, I mean, every year we look at where we're going to go with our friends in the spring for vacation. And I looked at Turks and Caicos and it didn't match up with my normal vibe.
Hmm.
One, I like to go where we can go, and it's a lot more rural. I'm not saying we don't go to the cities; we go to the cities, but I'm looking for a more unique cultural experience. I
Yep.
do like that where we end up going to find those. The prices are a little bit less, but that's not our biggest motivator. But when I
Hmm.
looked at Turks and Caicos, it was a lot of higher end stuff, and it really looked like this is a place where rich people go for vacation, and um, and they're generally not my people. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying you know rich people are bad people or anything like that. They're just we don't we're not on the same. We don't relate.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I
Hmm.
I didn't feel like it was like super snobbery there. Like
Hmm.
I stayed at a lower end hotel.
Hmm.
But I also booked an evening cruise that the that boarded out of the and returned to the Ritz Carlton.
Yeah.
So, I got a taste of what the Ritz is like.
Hmm.
But I wasn't ready to drop 6 grand on my hotel for a 4 night stay.
Yeah.
So, what was fun about it though was after we got back from the Sunset Cruise tour, we just jumped into the heated swimming pool at the Ritz.
Nice. Yeah.
No
Well,
one's stopping us.
mhm. Don't hear that I don't like nice things because I do. But when we went to Fiji, we got a house. We got a 3-bedroom house with our own pool and outside refrigerator, and it included all of the play toys, the kayaks, we could snorkel right off the house. We got a cook while we were there we were there for 2 weeks. I mean, who wants to go grocery shop on vacation for dinner for everybody for 2 weeks? And it was $7,000 for the two couples to split for that house. I was like, and it included the chef. I'm like, oh heck yeah.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable if you ask me. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of warming up on, I know the Caribbean has its problems, right? Usually in the form of hurricanes, sometimes
Yeah.
in the form of earthquakes, right? But I could definitely see myself buying, again, like when I was down in Costa Rica,
Mhm.
I'm reconsidering maybe picking up a place, down there again, maybe, at some point. Maybe when it comes time to sell my place in Vermont, that's the one I trade in for something down there, you know.
Yeah, and I've heard I forget who I talked to. I know I've talked to you about Costa Rica, but then I also talked to somebody else, and they're like, "No, you really Costa Rica is so much better than you think it might be. I mean, it's got everything." So
It is out of no question, though, out of all of those countries that I've mentioned, though, it is the most touristy in the sense that it's like a giant amusement park.
yeah.
The whole country, they have figured it out, right? Like, and everywhere you go, and Turks and Caicos had a subset of these, right? But everywhere you go in Costa Rica, there's zip lines. There's, in the higher elevations, there's cloud forest tours, um, jet skiing, cruising, uh, horseback riding, or maybe ATV riding, sailing. There's like, it's the same thing everywhere you go. There are like a half a dozen places offering all of these different, very touristy activities and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like they've got the whole country just, it's like it's built to entertain. It's like
Hmm.
that's their thing. So
Well, Turks is supposed to be a good place to go fishing, and that's one of the reasons I look at every place that what's a nice tropical place and fly fishing.
I definitely had good fish there.
Hmm.
One
What'd
night
you
we went
have?
out, grouper,
Hmm.
at a place called Mr. Grouper. So, also went to a sushi place
Hmm.
and was not impressed. It was not sushi. It was Caribbean's take. It was rice wrapped around fish wrapped in seaweed,
Okay.
but it wasn't sushi.
Yeah.
It was like, this is not Japanese in
It
any sense. And,
was not made by real Japanese people.
it wasn't made by real Japanese people. It wasn't made with Asian people. It wasn't made by Mexicans. I've had Mexican sushi up here, or people, sushi bars were made by Mexican cutters and it's been good. It was nowhere near authentic. But the other thing is, like, I'm pretty sure they use jasmine rice in the sushi. And
Yeah.
like right off the bat, they brought it to the table and I'm looking at the rice and I'm like, that's really white. It was like pearly white, like
Yeah.
you've done, the teeth whitening white,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And I
I know what you
tasted it and it was like, it was bland. It was like it needed salt, it's like, so I don't think they followed the standard preparation, method for sushi rice or anything like that.
mean.
So I was just like, I mean, it was, whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, the sushi that they served out on the Sunset Cruise from the boat, the boat from the Ritz, however, was very good.
Nice.
I had 3 plates of rolls and I just kept going back. We're pretty sure it came from Nori, the sushi bar in the Ritz.
Hmm.
So I was like, all right, that was different. Also, parasailing, paragliding, those are things to do in Costa Rica. Did go parasailing down in Turks as well, and
How was
that was
that?
fun. It was fun. Did not go up as high as they did when I was in Costa Rica.
Hmm.
So the trip was a little shorter. It was a little lower. I don't think we got up to even 100 feet. Whereas in Costa Rica, if I remember correctly, I think I hit like 250 or 300 feet, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
It was up there, right? It was like,
Hmm.
I will not survive this,
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of thing. Whereas in Turks, I was just like, I might be able to enter the water cleanly enough. I might,
Yeah.
I might not shatter all the bones.
Unless I hit the bottom.
Yeah,
You know?
right, exactly. But it was fun. So my traveling companion and I did that together. So it was a tandem thing, side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike in Costa Rica, when I took off, you started on the beach and you would waddle run, because you're wearing the giant contraption diaper situation.
Right.
You waddle out, and then and they hold up the sail for you, and then the boat starts to go, and then poof, you're flying. And then you land in the water and have to
Mm-hmm.
swim to the boat, and they're like, as soon as you hit the water, make sure you get clear of the parachute.
Right.
Turks and Caicos, you take off and land on the boat.
They reel you in like a
They
kite.
really, yep, exactly. So I was not expecting that. I thought we were going to get wet. So yeah, but it was fun though. It was great, good experience. So it was a
Cool.
lot of fun.
Yeah, that to me that sounds like a much safer way. You don't want ding dongs having a parachute land on their head.
Bingo. That's it. So again, it was a little more or a little less YOLO than than in Costa. But the internet being reliable was really great though, because I took calls on the beach with and then when my cellular wasn't great. Oh, that was the other thing too. Cellular, no problems whatsoever. Like
Yeah.
when I hit Mexico City, I was having, I think I told you, I don't remember, but I had problems with, getting the reliable cell connection. And that was both roaming with my Verizon plan, and also with the Air LO service that I had purchased.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were roaming on the same carriers, so it didn't really matter. But it was totally unreliable. And here I'm standing in the airport trying to call an Uber. I didn't need a signal for that,
Yeah.
Totally different experience here. I don't even think I might have had to reboot my phone to get it, to get the cellular to register and stuff. But I don't even remember if I had to do that. But it was just like, it just worked.
Mm-hmm.
And no problems with the signal dropping at any place, no weird roaming issues. So for me, it was great. And the internet at the hotel was rock solid. The internet at almost every restaurant, I'm sure, like every restaurant and some stores even had, and all the bars had reliable internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I took a couple of calls in the afternoon from a bar, and nobody knew and nobody cared, and it
Yeah.
just worked. The only time I had any sort of problem was when I was too far away from the bar on the beach, and my phone was trying to connect to their Wi-Fi.
There you go.
So it was great. So from that perspective, it was nice. And I guess if I want to do a working vacation or a relocation of sorts, that's a factor for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I really, really want to get away, that's different. So,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking maybe I'll give Puerto Rico another shot. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Puerto Rico, up until that point, well, we went to Puerto Rico, I forget which year, but it was before their big hurricane. And
Yeah.
that was
a while
the
ago.
most expensive vacation that I'd ever been on, was there. And I took my two girls, my wife and the two girls. So, but yeah, it was expensive there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to look. I don't remember. But again, it's essentially for all for all intents and purposes, except if you're a citizen of Puerto Rico, you're in the United States. So,
What was funny is, so I've spent a lot of time in Belize, and Belize used to be a British colony, and now they're independent. And so a lot of Puerto Ricans I wouldn't say a lot. One of the common things that is said is that Puerto Rico wants to be its own country, and they want to separate from the United States. And like, yeah, why don't you ask Belize how that works when they stop giving you all the things. We send a lot of money to Puerto Rico to bolster it, any energy revenues, roads, all those federal things they get. And when they become their own country, they no longer get federal funding. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a worthy goal. They just need to add all that up.
But at the same on the same token, you know, the current president in his first term didn't seem to even be aware that Puerto Rico was part of the United States, and then they have actively gone to great lengths to cut off sorts of like aid and stuff to Puerto Rico. So they're still getting something, but there's an active movement to stop that. so
Brilliant.
mm-hmm. There you go.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, yeah, so we covered Turks and Caicos. Yeah. Why don't you go next?
Well, I was going to, this is, we both have Christmas backgrounds here, so we are podcasting in December, and so I was thinking about. I sent you a text. Think about what your guilty pleasure is, and one of mine is I like Christmas movies, like some of the cheesy ones, even because I don't know why.
You like what's it the Will Ferrell Scrooged Will Ferrell
Oh yeah,
Christmas
Spirited.
Carol.
Oh
Spirited, yes.
yeah. No, I really do enjoy that. That's a good one. I mean, who doesn't enjoy that one? I mean, that was not.
I think I've only watched it once 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
At your suggestion.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I think it's fun. We've made that into our one of our annual shows to watch. I mean, there's the ones that everybody likes some Christmas movie, but like Christmas of the Castle with Carrie Elways and Brooke Shields. That that's not a mainstream.
That one doesn't ring any bells.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Fairly new. Well, it's a couple years old. It's on Netflix, but ones like that. Now, some of those Hallmark, they're like, especially when the acting is poor.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Netflix, have you been following the news related to them?
That they bought HBO.
Well, they want to. I mean,
it
has
was
to go
filmed.
through. Well, it has to go through regulation approval.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, because they made a bid for like 85, I think, 85 billion. And then Paramount made a counter offer for like 100 or something, but apparently that's not happening. I'm like, I think so. For me, I think of the DC Comics properties, right? So I think of Superman and the Justice League, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, all those characters. Like, what's going to happen to them? And as far as live action or animated, like video movie stuff, I have to think that probably would be better off with Netflix. I also think that they would be better off anywhere but Paramount. so I'm kind of rooting for them. I mean, Time Warner, Warner Brothers, Warner Entertainment, like ever since the whole Time Warner thing, it has just been like one downhill slide after another. Right? Time Warner, AOL, like what were they thinking? And they can't do comic book movie adaptations to save their lives. Right. We've got a glimmer of hope with James Gunn coming over and taking over the stuff. But other than that, like it's terrible. Zack Snyder, really? The Flash? Oh my god.
Yeah.
So
well, and Netflix is a success business story of who moved the cheese and they went with it, because I wish I had bought a whole bunch of Netflix stock because I was into Netflix when they were DVD only. I mean, I was a subscriber.
But think about it, right? So they killed Blockbuster Video, right?
Yep.
But even then, back in their name from the get-go was Netflix. And allegedly, the founder always planned to do streaming. That was
Okay.
allegedly always part of the plan. It wasn't just you're ordering your CDs or ordering your DVDs over the net.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't they, like, I think, is it totally gone? I think they stopped the DVD mailing rental part. Is that completely
Yeah,
gone
I
now?
believe it's completely gone now. It had a deadline on it, and I think it has since passed.
Yep. Yep.
But
So rest in peace, DVD flicks.
yeah. No, the irony is I mean, this was in early 2000, and I was doing a lot of video stuff, meaning I was producing videos for commercial, and I was having to do a lot of compression. I was using things like DivX and
Yep.
specific codecs to really shrink stuff. And my buddy at the time, he told me, he said, well, one of these days we're going to be all IP TV. He said, so that you know you'll do like what we're doing. We go to Netflix, we watch a movie, and I said, man, I just don't know how you'll do it because the codecs are so big and the files are so big and the internet is just not big enough to accomplish that on a grand scale. And he said, no, it's going to happen. He said, and think about it, the bandwidth will be better too, because on a cable television coax, it is broadcasting every channel on that coax cable, where with an IP, it is only streaming one thing at a time. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of a cool concept. And and I still didn't think, I couldn't see how it would happen with the codecs that we had at the time. But here we sit today, you and I are video podcasting over very light lines, very light.
Yep. I mean, it's amazing what can happen. Like, even then, sometimes you can see some latency or things, the video quality will get a little choppy or a little degraded. But just compared to like what it was when we first started streaming video, like I go back to like Real Audio, Real Media.
Oh yeah.
Remember how bad that was? You
Yeah.
know, like it was terrible. And even on like a T1 line, it was an experience, to say the least, you know. And back then, of course, it was, T1 line, man, 1.54 megabits. And you paid hundreds or thousands of dollars a month for it. Yeah?
$1,500 a month for a T1. That was when it was, kind of stabilized, but it was like $3,000. We were paying $3,200 for I can't even think of the company. They're not in business anymore. We would buy their T1s at JC Bradford.
Yep. There you go. So
they're like,
yeah,
we have bonded T1s, Peter. That's enough bandwidth to do anything.
That's 3 megabits per second.
3 megabits.
Whew. All right. What else we got?
So this, you didn't list
guilty pleasures.
Yeah, that was my guilty pleasure. You never gave yours.
And these are holiday guilty pleasures, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. It can be. I mean, it just kind of makes sense because it's holiday, but it could be anything.
Eggnog.
Oh man, yeah. I can see why that's guilty, because there's a lot of sugar, fat. Yeah, I do like eggnog.
Possibly rum or whiskey.
Possibly, yep.
Possibly, yep. So yes, but I like eggnog, and I've got this will be an interesting thing too. So I will likely be fasting this weekend. I may start again like Sunday night and fast through Monday until Tuesday. But a few weeks ago, before I went on vacation and stuff, I was eating a lot of eggs. So on a regular basis, to sort of test the whole, like, no, eggs are really, really good for you. And yes, even though they contain a lot of cholesterol, they shouldn't spike your cholesterol levels, yada, yada.
Right.
But between that and holiday parties and business lunches, been eating a lot. My weight's still okay. And also not exercising as much as I had been. So my plan is to fast and then see how I do, what my cholesterol and, levels are like afterwards. So I have the cholesterol test sitting on the kitchen counter down there. So I'm
What type of test is it?
Blood. You take a pinprick on your finger, you drop a few drops of blood into the sample kit, and then you FedEx it.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a home kit that you find out immediately.
No, it's a home kit, but the results are not conducted at home. It's not a
Okay.
pregnancy test or a COVID test.
Yeah, that must sell cholesterol tests. All you have to do is pee across this strip. You'll be
fine. Yeah,
you'll be fine.
It's not the same. No.
Green means go, red means stop. Hey, we're all good.
There you go. Oh man. So there you go.
So interesting thing from the podcast, we have been on the same platform for a really long time. We've made some changes, but we are now on Podbean as our podcast host. So this episode will be the first one that will be recorded and placed directly on Podbean and published there. The other ones were imported in. So, but it's got some really good. We didn't have any true analytics from the standpoint of we could see people come to the site, we could see people downloading episodes, but we also could not determine if somebody finished an episode or listened to it. It's like, well, yeah, it downloaded, but did somebody actually listen to it, or did they simply download it and never listen to it? So getting some nice analytics. I mean, we knew where people were coming from and sources. Russia. Yeah. Well, we got a lot in China. A lot of downloads from China.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, they're cloning us just from our voices. They're able to recreate our DNA from voice patterns.
You had to mention it. You brought up DNA. Now I have to mention this again. I have to go back to politics again. So was it a week ago? Some rocket surgeon in the Republican Party proposed a ban on dual citizenship.
Nice.
And the proposal is that you must either rescind your foreign citizenship or your U.S. citizenship.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I had my trusty AI assistant, do a deep dive analysis on it, and they gave it a roughly 3% probability of passing.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So fingers crossed on that one.
Well, that's so impractical. I mean, there's something like our missionaries that we work with, they both have dual citizenship because she's American and he's Mexican. They're married and live in Mexico, but they time.
But they hate Mexicans.
Yeah, well, yeah, they do that. But then they come back.
There you
go. Yeah, that's true. But they as a married couple, there's so many restrictions about them being married, and when they're not dual citizens, of going back and forth, and he got so much grief. They're like, you're going to the United States and you're not coming back. You're like, why would I not go back to Mexico? My family is there. My house is there. My church is there. I'm not coming to stay.
So that was the related story. But the other one was that I just heard about today was now the Department of Homeland Security wants to collect from anybody coming to the United States. They want to collect their past, if I recall, past 5 years of social media handles and activities. Their past 10 years. It was one of them was 5 years and the other was 10. I think it's like 5 years of email or 10 years of email addresses that you've used, and also phone numbers that you've used. Oh, wait. And DNA testing.
and DNA.
Why do you need DNA for somebody coming here? Just to prove, just in case they look not white enough? You just want to be double sure? I mean,
Well, you know how they say, every, like we go somewhere, they all look the same. So we don't have people who can look at a person and determine that they're different than another. So they need DNA to confirm it.
pretty much. So anyway, yeah, so that was I say disheartening.
Yeah. Well, you know, my wife is pretty discouraged at the current stuff that's going on politically as well too. But I am listening to 1929 right now, which is based on the stock market crash and the Great Depression that came out of that.
I knew that
And
number sounded familiar for some reason.
yeah, so October 29th, 1929 was the day of that hard crash, and then the Depression came shortly thereafter. We've gone through some sucky times with some lousy presidents throughout our United States history, and we're not in the worst right now. I mean, it's bad, but it's not the worst that we've had.
Not for lack of trying.
Yeah. No, yeah. But I was just thinking, I was like, man, it would have been real, just listening to the things that people were going through. I was like, wow, it was really, really difficult. There was one investor at the time, and he was known as he was always selling short. So he was always betting against the market. And on October 29th, he shorted the market. And in one day, and his wife was concerned because she saw the news and she packed up all their goods and took them away so that they wouldn't be able to be taken by the creditor. And he got home and she said, well, I saw the market and I'm so upset. He said, we're going to be okay. And
Okay.
he said, in one day, he made $100 million on the stock market crash. The equivalent to that is $2 billion today in one day.
Did he turn out to be, and get your censor button ready, a raging asshole as a result of that?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It'd be interesting to track down what happened to him afterwards.
Well, he was a rich man before. So he wasn't, I mean, he had been rich all along. I mean, he was a speculator and he was, so it wasn't new to him.
Got it. It's just Josh Johnson a few weeks ago did one of his skits, and it's like, it seems like if you gradually get into money, it changes people. But if you become super rich super fast, it seems to make people really, really bad and evil. So,
well, so Dave Ramsey, him, the financial guy.
Yep.
So his opinion, and I tend to agree with him. His opinion is money multiplies what you are. So if you were a huge jerk without money, it just gives you the ability to be an even bigger jerk with money. You were always a jerk, whoever you are, but they were always a jerk. They just now can really, spread their wings and be a great big old jerk.
Pretty much it.
But he also says on the other side of that, if you were a good person before you had money, you'll do really good things with money.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. It's an interesting to think about, like maybe we should take a look at the top whatever number of people and just see, what out of the top wealthiest folks, how many of them would we consider are good people versus not so good people?
Yeah. No, I don't think I think that some people can be negatively influenced. Like they might have been a good person and then kind of wheedle on over to the negative side, because there are some things, when you do have money, you need a lot less faith, because you have faith in yourself and you have faith in money, and that's not necessarily a healthy personal position. And as as a man of faith, it's better for me to believe in God than myself and money.
Fair enough.
Yeah. When I start believing in me, then
Well, I mean, I do believe in me, but I believe in more than me. Last I checked, it was not
Yeah.
just me. See also the White House. Anyway.
Yeah. No, yeah, we definitely got to take responsibility. So I mean, we've run out I guess we'll carry over a little bit. Do we have any nifty?
Well, I wanted to tell, yeah, here's a nifty. Your local it's a reverse nifty, right? So usually nifties, they're some sort of technology, whether it's a piece of hardware gadget, or software that we found, or a service. I tried recently to sell my Garmin Forerunner 955 Solar, my Garmin watch. You're like, wait, what? What's wrong?
To a dude with a van down by the river, or
wait for it. No, I tried to sell it because around Black Friday, the Garmin Forerunner 965 was on sale for only $50 more than what I paid for my 955. Now, admittedly, the battery life on the 965 is not quite as good. Still way more than I need, right? So the reason I want it is got a nice, bigger, brighter AMOLED display. Right. So that's what I really wanted. Something easier to read in, different lighting conditions. It has some new features that the 955 didn't have that I don't really think pertain to me. But Black Friday, it was, basically $450. I was able to sell my Forerunner for only $25 less than what I paid for it.
Oh, wow.
So I essentially got, for $75, I got a nice upgrade. Now, I first tried listing it on eBay. And I was like, that looks like a pain. I'm not going to even do that. So I didn't really try that. I take that back. I started looking at it, but I didn't actually do it. And then my trusty AI assistant said, oh, you should try Reddit, right? Sell it on r/gear exchange, or r/watch exchange, or, something like that. And they've got these weird requirements that when you post it, you need to post it with a handwritten note showing your user handle and the date. And I think also the subreddit name that you're putting it in, some kind of fraud prevention thing, right? I didn't realize I left off one of the things. I think I left off either my own name, or I left off the subreddit that I was posting it in, right? So I had 2 out of the 3. I didn't realize I missed the 3rd one that I needed to put in. And so in the helpful format of the internet, someone posted, left off the whatever it was I left off, lol scam, blah, 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 right? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? All right, let me look at this shit. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, I did miss something. All right, so I reply, and by the time I went to, update my post, he had edited his post, because he had called out something that was not true, that I did not leave out, right? He legitimately caught one mistake, but he also accused me of something else that was not true. And so he retracted that, and also took off the 12-year-old grammar lol scam stuff. He's like, you left off the such and such. So he adjusted his quote to be correct. I still gave my original reply, though, which was, at first I thought you were just trolling me, but I see you're actually attempting to be helpful. So thank you. I have adjusted my post accordingly. And all I did is I took the Post-it note that had the 2 pieces of information, scribbled on the 3rd piece,
Yeah.
and posted it there.
Right.
But, if he had said anything else, I was going to respond like, well, you made 3 mistakes. Number 1, it's not a scam. Number 2, whatever the thing is that he did accuse me of that wasn't true, besides being a scam. And number 3, your grammar.
Yeah.
You write like a 12-year-old lol scam, stupid shit like that.
It's so for posts for people who don't speak good
or type good.
Type good.
So I also had somebody emailed me. It was like, where are you located? What's the condition? And I was like, Massachusetts. And then he wrote back, oh, I thought it was the newer model. I can buy this for blah, 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 blah. I was like, not even responding to that, whatever. It's like, But the thing is, I found out after I sold it, the price on the 955 solar had actually jumped up. So it is now selling for the same price as the new one that I just bought. Okay. So I guess there's still demand for that. So I probably could have even gotten a little more.
There you go.
But what I decided to do was screw this whole internet thing. I'd remembered something. I'm part of the Somerville Roadrunners group. Thousands of locals in this area. I think we're thousands. There's lots and lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I emailed the president. I was like, hey, Ben, just checking. Is it okay for me to list? I think I've seen some people selling some stuff. Like, is it okay for me to list things? He said, absolutely. We just ask that you don't spam the list constantly,
right.
Solicit. I'm like, look, I'm selling a Garmin
gear. It's not like I'm not selling a car.
I'm selling a Garmin watch, and while I'm at it, my Nathan hydration vest, which was too big for me, right? And he's like, "Yeah, no, go for it."
Relevant to the group, it's perfect.
Perfectly relevant. Within hours, I had 2 takers on the watch, and the next day, I had someone for the vest.
Nice.
And I actually, could have had a bidding war. But it was like 2 folks were both willing to pick it up on the same day. And I wanted to do it because I'm flying out to Turks and Caicos in the morning.
Right.
And so I just wanted to get this done. And, because it's like, with my luck, I'll take it down there. I'll fall on the beach, hit a rock. It'll get all scratched up and not be in, mint condition anymore. I was like, I just took it out. I put it in the original box with all the original packaging, cables, manuals, pristine condition. It even had the little plastic screen protector that they ship with, put it back on there, right? If I had thought about it, I could have said like, well, if you want to make a better offer, we could, but I didn't. So, I bought it for $400. I sold it for $375. I had it for, I had a Garmin watch for around 6 months. Cause remember this one was new because they replaced it.
Yeah.
So this watch was only 8 weeks old. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, you guys are getting a good deal. I get a good trade up. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah. I've got a semi funny story. So I'm looking at buying a lavender still for essential oils. Mm-hmm. And somebody posted in the lavender forum where I am for the still for, I don't remember, it was like 1,525. And or maybe it wasn't that much. But I was like, well, that's not a bad price. And I was looking at it, and my wife because she showed it to me. I said, that's not a bad price. I said, well, let's go to the manufacturer's site and see what one costs brand new. Well, you go to the manufacturer's site for the brand new exact same setup. It was $25 cheaper than what they were selling theirs. I'm like, I think I'd rather have a brand new one before I buy somebody's used one for more. And then they weren't like, well, we're not going to ship it either. You're going to have to come get it. I'm like, I can get it from the manufacturer and they'll ship it to me for cheaper, and I was like, no, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good.
I'm good. Thank you.
Well, there you go.
Nice. So I see you're drinking a tea. Are you drinking a decaf tea?
This is a caffeinated tea, but for me, the caffeine in tea seems to have a negligible effect on me.
Mm-hmm.
Not like coffee. Caffeinated coffee, if I was drinking that at this time of day, I would feel it.
Yeah.
I have drunk tea even late at night and not really. Now I haven't done it recently, but I've had tea late afternoon, even early evening, and no noticeable effects.
Hmm. Well, here's something funny. So this is not a Friends with Brews episode, but um, down at the farm, I went to the grocery, which is a Family Dollar, not a grocery, and I needed coffee, and we normally drink Starbucks coffee. Well, they don't have Starbucks, but they do have Folgers, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of feeling nostalgic because that's what my grandparents drank. They all drank Folgers. They bought a big old can of it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get Folgers. It's gonna be good. I haven't had that in a long time. So I got it. The first cup was like, yeah, this is kind of good, but that was all it was good because after the nostalgia went through, I'm like, yeah, it's not nearly as rich and flavorful, and it is a cup of coffee. But one thing I did notice is I think it has more caffeine than the regular coffee that I get because it makes me a little bit jittery.
It's possible. That's a likely cause. It could also just be like a little lower quality bean.
Mm-hmm.
Could be like you're drinking a little more garbage that's amping you up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd be curious now when you made the Folgers, how did you brew it?
Drip. So just a pot, I I always choose strong so it drips slower. But
Okay.
yeah, I brewed it the same way that I brewed my regular. I bet it would taste better in a French press.
My thought was, and this is a hack, and it
Hmm.
doesn't always work, but you can often improve cheap coffee by just using a lot more of it.
Well, use a lot more.
So if you're doing a drip and you normally put in like 1 scoop, try 2 scoops and see what happens.
Hmm.
Like put in a lot more and stuff. So it's a hack. And again, it doesn't always work. Sometimes you're just making more worse coffee. But sometimes it can be a little bit better. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't a bad cup of coffee. It's just not as good as what I normally have.
Got it.
And I think it has to do too with what I get is a more finely ground coffee. And
Mhm.
the Folgers seems to be a larger grind, and so
Yep.
there's a lot less of the smaller particles in there that kind of give it a nice mouth feel.
That also might lend better to a French press,
Yeah,
because you're supposed to do a little more of a coarse grind there. Folgers doesn't even sell whole bean coffee, do they? I don't think they do.
I maybe they do some special stuff from time to time, but I
Yeah,
didn't see anything because yeah, I could have ground it, but I don't have a grinder at the farm.
got it. Okay.
But
All
I do
right.
have a French press though.
There you go.
I think a French
Um,
press will make even bad coffee good.
I mean, it can make bad coffee a little better, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to make it good.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
So,
cool.
okay.
Did we cover everything we wanted to cover today?
No, there's always more to talk about, but we'll save some for later.
Excellent. Sounds good. Well, in that case, why don't you just take us out?
All right, listener, if you have any particular feedback you'd like to discuss a topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast. You can also find us at yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbrews.com, and you can find me at Roaming Roan Lavender Farm. With that, hit the big red button. So
Do it.
I'm not going to hang up.
Not that big red button.
But yeah.